Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another new release review. And for today, I will be covering Godzilla, King of the Monsters. First positive on the agenda today is the obvious one, and that is the visuals for this movie, because they are stunning. The monsters look magnificent, the destruction is just amazing. Seeing these giant skyscrapers just topple over is absolutely spectacular. Really some of the prettiest and just best looking visuals I've seen in a movie theater this year. Next is also something that was very evident based on the trailers and the posters, and that is the color scheme for this movie. It is beautiful. Whether it was the blues, the reds, the oranges, the yellows, all of it really did just make my eyes light up. So the color scheme is definitely something they nailed with this one. Next up is the creature design. Of course, we have decades and decades of movies in particular with Godzilla and all of his monstery friends. So really, you do have a lot of material to pull from to make your modern day version. These monsters look damn good. They really do fit this monster universe and the story that they're trying to tell here. They feel very modern. The ones that are supposed to be more villainy and scary, they do feel extremely scary. And the ones that aren't supposed to be quite as menacing, say Mothra for instance, turns out to be very, very beautiful. And Godzilla, he's about a bit of both. You know what I mean? He's pretty, but in the same sense too, when it's ready to throw down, I wouldn't want to meet this guy in a dark alley. Or more particular, this guy's toenail in a dark alley. That's probably about all that would fit. One of my favorite aspects of this movie is that you get that civilian perspective. You know, those moments where you're in a big city or you're looking up at some huge building, you're just looking way, way, way up. You get that perspective a lot, and it really does make these monsters feel just absolutely huge. Everything in this movie feels big, it feels epic, and they do a great job at emphasizing just how big and epic these things are. And lastly, on the positives for today is the end battle of this movie, and it is by far the best portion of the movie. Whatever words you want to use to describe it, it looks beautiful. That moment that you see from the trailer when King Ghidorah and Godzilla meet and they hit, there's just this giant tidal wave of air that pummels the city. The size and scale, again, I just cannot emphasize how well done it is in this movie. And now, the middle ground. That is the cinematography with this movie. Some of these shots in this movie are mesmerizing. Some very, very, very good cinematography, but then there's another flip side to this, and some of the cinematography, it's almost like it was shot by two different people, because half of it you have these wide, giant, beautiful, amazing shots, and then the other half, there's a lot of shaky cam, a lot of flashing lights. So some of the cinematography really did almost make me dizzy and almost nauseous at a few points, just because of how shaky it was, how many flashing lights there were, how chaotic it was. You really couldn't see what was going on. And now, the negatives. There are pretty much two kind of coexisting plots going on at the same time. The first one is generic villain plan, monsters fight. That's pretty much it. And then the other one is just this family that's kind of like a broken family, and they're kind of trying to get back together, but not in the same sense. I don't know, man. It was really, really bland. I didn't care for it at all, which really sucked, because the family was a family of very talented actors, but you didn't get to see them interact a whole lot. There wasn't really a ton of backstory there, little bits and pieces of it, but even when there was, you just didn't care because it was all very generic and just watered down. I just didn't care for the plot at all in this movie, either one of them. Top that with the fact that this movie is loaded with just too many conveniences, coincidences. There's a ton, I mean a ton of last second saves that happen in this movie, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Also the fact that these people and these monsters travel all over the globe, and it's, you know, the globe's a pretty big place, and they manage to travel to all these locations in what feels like a matter of minutes, like not even, maybe hours. I mean, I kind of get it for these giant monsters, but everyone else, I'm not having it. Another thing that bothers me that happens a lot in this movie is exposition dumps. It's just, hey, guess what? I have this backstory in my head about this monster. Oh, look, there's legends that explain this monster. And they feel like they have to spell everything out for us, right? Like, the characters will kind of hint at something, or I have an idea. And then next scene will literally, some character will be like, wait, I don't understand. The other character will be like, well, what we're gonna do is yep. And they explain the whole thing as if we couldn't figure it out for ourselves. And finally for me is the characters in this movie, the human characters, that is, because the monsters have more emotions and more to do than any of the human characters. They just make so many dumb decisions, and pair that with the fact that a good majority of the characters flip-flop in motives and reasoning and backstories. Some of them have little bits and pieces of backstory, others no backstory at all, and you just feel really no connection between any of these characters. And let's pair that also with the fact that this movie has a phenomenal cast and every single one of the human characters is wasted. I am sad to report. Like, it just sucks to see all these big named actors and actresses that really do sell you on seeing this movie just to go completely to waste. So with all that being said, guys, I know it seems like I really am dumping on this movie a whole lot, and I am to a certain degree. But don't let that fool you. This movie is a pretty good time, and I actually do recommend seeing it. So with all that being said, I'm going to be giving Godzilla King of the Monsters a 6.5 out of 10. So if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know what were your thoughts on Godzilla King of the Monsters, and where does it rank for you in the monster universe. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap.